Yes. Yes, it is recorded and it's okay. I wanted to kind of do a little warm up. It's 4:30. I don't know if you've been sitting and working all day. So I want to challenge everyone to put your camera on and just, show your faces, your familiar faces. Okay, Tarek is here and I see a lot of Mahdi and Megumi. Nihaila Sturko is like, I'm back home. It feels really, hi, Douglas. That's awesome. Hi, everyone. So what I want to do is just wherever you are, you can do it while sitting or standing. Just would do take a 30-second shake up. So just fill up yourself and stretch and feel a little bit energy because you need to be now on camera. It is a bit stressful to network, right? So get prepared to be powerfully present with me and share your knowledge and raise your hand to your power pose. Yeah, turn around. You can also shake your head or dance a little bit. Okay. Very nice, yeah. So feel your body, and now you're totally present for me. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna take a screenshot. So do some nice face gesticulation that we are all present. So anything with this, you can do your fingers, your eyes, accentuate your face, okay? I give you 3 seconds to find your signature pose, okay? 1, 2, 3. Nice. And I'll do the second page because we're many. Not everyone is on, so I'll do it anyway. So 1, 2, 3, keep on doing. And the third page on the Zoom, whoever is on, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Great. So now I see you. You should leave your camera on, really, just to get the best out of this. I'm not going to go into like this extensive intro who I am, but yes, I'm based in Helsinki, and I'm really happy to be with you today because even if it's not in person, we really hope, Lucia, you tried, and Megumi, but today I will share with you some of my own experiences of, my own networking journey in Finland, in a country where they smile a lot but speak too little. And also find yourself ways to energize yourself and be the conversation starter, and also find ways to be creative in finding contacts and being visible to your potential employer, to your new network or new community, wherever you are in academia, in business, in nonprofit, and also entrepreneurship. So really nice to hear Jenny's and Irene's offering. And of course, maybe you want to go into politics or municipality with Aftari. So we need all talents here, and I'm going to tell you why I'm so confident in this. So any questions that you may have, please just unmute yourself and ask. I don't want this to be a monologue, and I also expect that you will share. I have some questions on the way. So I want you to also share. So we actually co-create new tips because I also want to learn from you. Have you got some new techniques to network? Have you got some new ways or notice some ways that work for you or for your peers? And in that sense, we all give and take, yeah? So if it's okay, I share my screen, Lucia? Yeah?
Sure, please.
Cool. And I've been reading somewhere you're all from, so very international crew, and today is a Universal Democracy Day, whatever that means. It's very difficult to celebrate Democracy Day when we see fake media all over, but we still need to be thankful that we live in a country that's Finland, and our voices still matter. Our voices still matter, and storytelling is a human right, and we need to be really sharing that a lot. So let me just find my PowerPoint in a second. Yes.
Yeah, really a great start, Kamilla. Like we are 59 people. So thanks everybody.
People. I miss being with you. I miss, it's really difficult,
We try our best to do it online.
Yeah.
Next
So,
thing.
so you should be able to see my slides.
Yes.
Yeah, great. So we'll go right in. So yeah, my own journey, what I'm going to tell you about is 4 things. So my own networking journey. We'll go right in what's happening now in Finland now and in 10, 15 years. And so you actually think of your perspective, go into networking tips and then wrap it up at the end. And I said, just ask questions whenever I feel like. But let's warm up with your SISU. I also want to get you to know each other a little bit. So what SISU, as we know it, is all these beautiful words that define courage, grit, resilience. But it's when we think about networking and moving to a new country, we need to also recognize what makes us unique, makes us different. So I want you to think, and we haven't discussed this with Lucia, if we want it to be just like an open space and just all right, if you feel comfortable saying what's your SISU, or type it in, what's your SISU and what makes you unique. And then, and just, yeah, take 10 seconds, whatever you need, and tell me, and I'll tell you what's my SISU. I'll start with myself. So I think my SISU is that I know whatever I'll be living, that my well-being is with me, and I want to share it with others. That energy, my SISU is my energy is my SISU. So let's hear your SISU thoughts. Be creative, don't be shy, because that's what goes into application later when you know what your SISU is. Action. Let me see the chat. Maybe, Lucia, you can read the words through the chat because I can't click on it.
Sure. So, a lot of people. Isabella say, my SISU is my enthusiasm for life. That's great. Yenno, my SISU is in loving to be with other people. You are the best. Laura, I keep going no matter the difficulties on my way. Great. Douglas, my secret SISU is I never quit and I'm unique because no one else volunteered to be me.
Okay. Okay, good one. Yeah.
I'm sorry, names are very terrible to pronounce, but I think it's Maraike. She says, trust in myself and my curiosity in learning. Great. Nural is being enthusiastic about learning new things. Valeria is knowing that I have been through great challenges before and I have thrived. Maddie, my SISU has been rational under every condition. Good for you. I wish I had it. Mine, Lena, is trust myself, that what I can do and don't give up on me. Avanti, see good in every circumstances. Yeah, Yana says, my SISU has been extremely empathic towards other people, no matter what the situation is and why. I can confirm that because I know her. Sapna is never to give up. Michael is past failures and setbacks that we were overcome. Tarek, the ease with I'm sorry, because so many people are writing that because
awesome.
Tarek is ease with which I meet amazing people and make friends. I can confirm that too. And this is working hard and keep working. Jeff, persistence. Emily, let me know when you want me to stop because there are so many ones.
Good, good. Perfect. Take a few more.
See everything with positive light, empathy, and trust the process. Ramesh is resilience, persistent, and all-time confident. Jason is relentless problem solving. PU is knowing that my SISU, that I'm a good observer. And you want to know mine, Kamilla?
Of course.
Surviving 3 kids.
Okay. Well, you're doing a great job. Like, I mean, I'm going to bring you as an example later, so there's no wonder. Okay, thank you everyone for sharing. We're not going to read all, but this is a nice way to get you reflecting. When you show your SISU, you also showcase a little bit of gratitude for who you are. And I think that's also very, very important, which we always undermine, undervalue, thinking that everything we are is what's on our CV, on our LinkedIn, right? So that also other sides of uniqueness of you, we just need to share it and dare to be unique. So thank you again. So my journey is, yes, I come from country of Uzbekistan, and I call it a funny way, a country of golden teeth smile, which is a vanishing beauty right now. It's a colorful country of minarets and silk roads. And I've been there in February, in June, and I came back a bit depressed, to be honest, because of the whole spike of gender-based violence in Uzbekistan. And when I came to Finland, and I know I work in Finland with diversity inclusion and also changing social mindsets towards ethnic diversity, I felt that something really big changed in me, that I couldn't be unhappy with Uzbekistan and I couldn't be also unhappy with Finland. So that made me more value more my community in Finland, that there are things that work, there are things that really are supporting our individual voices, with the example of IWWOF communities and strong civil society. And that really brought me up to the speed to really think differently what I've done before 2 years, so over 2 years, the world has changed. And so that I want to also remind you that, yes, we may be really unhappy and lots of roadblocks right now for us internationals here, but I'm telling you, my nieces, they all want to go abroad. There is so much uncertainty and poverty, and how human rights are going back 30 years, especially for women. And you know what's happening in Afghanistan. So I think it's very important for me to mention to you here, because I cannot be ignoring the fact of how our world is really shaping, and how we really are a big part of this global community. And when you are in Finland and you share your story, you make human rights in Uzbekistan matter, okay? So do share your story and be visible. I studied communication, but I couldn't get a job in marketing in Denmark. I left to Denmark when I was 18. And only job I could get is selling secondhand container traders. How sexy is that, right? And, and I didn't need to study 6 years communication and marketing. And then at the same time, it was a financial crisis in 2008. So we're entering container trading was a new way for me also to think differently, to find and consider alternative path. And I'm really happy I went there, because I traveled the world. I made I learned new skills in logistics and what's Incoterms. Rotterdam was my second home city after Copenhagen. And then I was traveling Dubai and Russia and Poland. So it was really, really rich experience that made me also realize how much we stand sometimes very strict, that we need to work within our CV or within our education field. But when I moved to Finland, why I moved to Finland, of course, my honey bunny is here. My husband is from Finland, and I moved here in 2014. And when I moved here, he thought that I will be able to plug and play like this. Boy, he was wrong. And of course, I had the job, which was really nice. I didn't look for a job. I didn't need to go for studying Finnish from day one. But what was really interesting is that I was always active in Denmark on diversity inclusion topics as an activist, and also in different mentoring networks. So I noticed there was a Nordic Business Forum event. How many of you know Nordic Business Forum? Probably heard about it. So a really, really great event and a website to follow. I will come back to that. So I go there, and this is really what changed really affected my well-being in Finland, I can tell you. So I go there, I realized that my role model from Denmark, she's Moroccan, Danish, Sulaima Gourani, is coming to Nordic Business Forum, but it was sold out. And I'm like, how do I get there and meet her? I need to meet her, because I wrote her so many times, and this lady, she's such a hard cookie. She would never reply, because she's talking on the level with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sir Ken Robinson, belated. And so I was like, I need to hack myself to Nordic Business Forum. And I was there in Maersk, in Maersk Line container company already here. So what I do, I was on high heels that day. I run and take a cab and go to flower shop. I said, okay, if I buy flowers and I go there to reception, I'll tell them that I'm here to have a personal flower delivery. They will let me see her. And like, okay, this is totally ridiculous, but I'm gonna do it. It's once in a lifetime chance to meet the idol that you really look up to. You want to be a speaker like her, but you don't have guts yet. And so I do that. I go there, and you know, Finland, they let you in. They tell you, of course, like, sorry, where's your badge? I said, I'm not here with a badge. I'm here just for flower delivery. And they don't let me out. They're really democratic and open, and they sort of told me like, okay, she's giving a media interview. If you want to wait, it's fine. I was like, it's fine. I have whole lunch break. I'll be fine. I'll wait. So after some time, she comes out, and that she is. And I give her the flowers, and I say, Sulaima, I had to move to bloody Finland to finally meet you. And thank you for your inspiration. And she was, of course, like, oh my God, like, where are you from? I was like, I'm from Denmark. I've emailed you like a dozen times. And then, and she's like, come and see me in Copenhagen. We need to talk, you know? So I go back to Copenhagen a month later, we meet her, and then she introduces me to this coolest Finnish philosopher, Pekka Himanen, and he's the founder of Global Dignity with Crown Prince of Norway, Haakon, and she says, you know, if you want to work with me, that's the, you know, this is this opportunity. Of course, it's a volunteer position, but, you know, it's really, really good network. I'm like, please, I didn't even know it was Crown Prince behind it. I wanted just to work with her. So that was my story. And then this ended up to having a Global Dignity Finland, finding one volunteer at a time. And we found ways to reach out and share storytellings about dignities of people who are just like you and I, underrepresented, but also want to get visibility and feel that they can also feel valuable, worthy in Finland, yeah? So we've done around 10, 15 events, different workshops, art projects, and it was so profound for me to learn who is who in Finland. Because when I moved and I asked my husband's friends, who are famous Finnish people? One of them said, Moomi trolls. I was like, what? It's not even people. I mean, I said, okay, exclude those, you know, Formula One drivers. So it was really difficult to understand, like, what is the Finnish society? Who is making up? Who are the thought leaders? And so with this event, it was so amazing. We did this pro bono, of course, and we gave coaching to speakers who never ever shared their story before. And today they are also like creating opportunities for others. So it was really profound. And here you can see in Helsinki City Center, we did an art project with New York-based exhibitions, so also bring this Finland 2050 diversity through people's faces. And these are students from 20 different schools in Helsinki area. So for me, developing my own network here largely came, of course, I had a job, but there was no much contact with colleagues after work. Because in Finland, you know, there is a very big separation from professional work and the free time. So everything I had to all my friends came through my volunteer activity. And I must tell you, of course, I had resources to do it. And I understand that not many people have free time to do it. They need to do pay work. But anyhow, I've been really looking at it. So what really makes us belong is also to understand that you need to also understand how the society functions. And so with these kind of activities, people are able to connect over causes. And even if I felt really difficult to, you know, grow up in Denmark from 18 to 30, I already had that baggage that, okay, people actually have good intentions. Nobody wants to discriminate you. I mean, there are those people who do, but still a lot of times you can really find your own communities and you can create those spaces where you feel you want to be. And so that way I could also close my cultural shock of people not talking to me or always me being the conversation starter, yeah? So what I've learned is this understanding of building your local self goes through these 4 elements. This identity, which they don't teach us in school. I mean, I wish someone told me before I moved to Denmark, because I really struggled with that. Who I am? Am I just Uzbek? I don't have anything to offer because I come from a country people don't even know, or how I speak Russian. This is my religion. And then, you know, all these different groups that you belong to. This is what I always say, that your identity should be also universal, because if we always limit ourselves to your language or your country, your degree, your one social role, it also eliminates you to think bigger and think which communities you can join. So when I say network, I prefer to say communities because they're more reciprocal, and networking sometimes for me looks very transactional. Are you with me on this? So I think in that sense, what you do is once you're here is, that identity shapes your behavior, and with the behavior you get that curiosity, which is a free motivational energy to learn something, right? So I've learned about people, I've learned about, like here in Finland over the last 7 years, I'm still learning through studying Finnish now. I'm preparing for Uki test. Some of you probably been there. Yes. And so the curiosity brings you that free energy to learn and get something done, because you have to do things twice as much as locals. Because we don't grow up with a Danish or Finnish radio. We don't know who is Alexander Stubb. We don't know why we eat cantarelles with a cream sauce, or, all these things, that what is a triathlon and why people are so into sports here. So that context, curiosity brings you to really get to the context where you operate, where you live, how things are here. And still, you don't need to forget your own culture. That's why I dance Uzbek dance now every time I go somewhere physically. So in that sense, from the context, you also help better shape your own relevance with your CV, the jobs, which regions you're operating in. Now you're in Southwest Finland, right? And figure out where to which companies you are most relevant. And so in that sense, it saves you time and money when you get those two and make it tangible, that rather than just send applications to all, you really want to be selected by a few and noticed by a few employers. So it's like, get noticed, get visible, and make sure that you can also have a choice at the end. So with this kind of mindset, I want to move forward and say, what is that larger way of looking at networking in Finland is really what you're breaking into is a tight-knit network. And that I call as a remedy to invest into social capital, because those are the theory, that approach with Professor Robert Putnam. He was here in Sitra 5 years ago. And the Minister of Internal Affairs, Maria Ohisalo, at the time, she was a political, a party member of Green Party. She was there opening the speech, and it was such a profound impact on me that, okay, actually what we're actually doing right now is we're sharing our own networks, we're sharing tips, and community building, reciprocity, belonging, psychological safety, or just safety is all part of this one network that creates us not just as okay, I just an expat in the city, but a citizen. And so what I really like to think, what creates us to stay in country is not to be just a consumer. Okay, I moved to Finland, I get a job or education, and then I pay taxes, and then I don't see, like, I don't go out, or I don't really mingle in my local communities. It makes you just such as a consumer, which doesn't give you a rich experience of how is it to live in Finland. So instead, when you hack the society, which I think Finnish side is really open source, you can actually become a creator of opportunities. And that's why I think I'm also feel much more fulfilled my life here, not just selling containers and traveling 120 days a year abroad, but also feeling local and going to local school and doing these fantastic events. And what Lucia and Megumi does and Tarek does, that you are sharing. You want to add value, you want to create opportunities for others so that we all feel happier, and the more the merrier, and we're also relate to each other in that sense. So I think if that something comes out as a network, how I can reshape my idea from networking, from being fake and being transactional, think about social capital, that you want to be much more authentic and do it on your long term. Do it long term. So, and other things that really helped me to do my jobs well, like Lucia said, I work with Hunk International Talent, is actually sports. I started kayaking and running. I hated running. And that those people who run and do kayaks, they are really high cookie people. And after that, I connected to them on LinkedIn, and I said, hey, you want to be a mentor for my students? So that way, it was really easy to tell who you are. And of course, you're not like overselling. You need to kind of do it in a Finnish way, kind, and like not not this like here, go getter, but that really helped to also get the credibility in local space. If you don't do sports, there's something wrong with you. I mean, it's the same in Denmark. It's like a cult. I don't know. I mean, I'm 37. I've started quite late sports. It's not really a winning thing in Uzbekistan and probably not in India, but in any sense, it's a big part of socializing and really building your local self. So do something that you like. I mean, you can do dancing too. So this here lady is Marissa Meyer. She's half Finnish, half American, previous CEO of Yahoo. She's the highest paid CEO. She was in Finland on Women in Tech. And she talked about her journey. And she said, do something you aren't prepared to do. Do something you aren't prepared to do. And I think we are in this age where we absolutely need to take it literally. And she talked about her job, landing that Yahoo job. And so what happens at the moment is in Finland, we know all these great articles coming out right now that we have a lot of extensive shortage of labor. So we're kind of supposed to be needed because we're here. And then we have trends that every third job seeker by 2030 will be international. And then in Helsinki, just to give an example, there will be a rapid increase of diverse population. So every fourth will be a different native speaker than Finnish and Swedish. So it's going to be, I'm excited because that kind of shapes all the policymakers and all the people, actors to make Helsinki, make Finland really much more inclusive and diverse. So you can't run away from that. And then there's big trends of, you all know that only 20-30% of jobs are advertised in Finland, so it's still tight knit. And then we have the other trends that shaping the work companies, employers of, post Me Too, Black Lives Matter, how it started, all this unconscious bias training right now, which is not enough, I think, but also the COVID pandemic. So everything is just up for grabs and change. And it's a really exciting time to see, rethink, and I think most of us are thinking, how do we want to work? Do we want to work in office? Do we want to work 2 days a week here or abroad? And I want to tell you example from Denmark, difference between working in Denmark and Finland. When I moved to Finland, there was a time card in Finland, which shocked me, that I had to stamp in and stamp out. It was not really needed in Denmark. They were much more ahead to, trust you if you're working from home. And in Finland, they were looking at me weird because my boss was in Denmark and I didn't need to stamp in and stamp out. And they're like, how can you not do that? So it was really strange. And now you can see that 1/3 of Finns actually experienced well-being by not being in office. So, and it's a really fast way to see how changes can happen. And I would really hope that because of this so much increased discussion on internationalization, diversity, inclusion, that this also will kind of come in as a normal way to the new normal to work in a diverse environment. But we all need to act for that. So yes, there is a lot of unconscious bias and documented by Minister of Employment of, documented racism at the workplace by Tuula Hatainen, Minister of Employment, and still rising social inequality affecting not only young people, but also those who study in universities. And we really need to kind of see our own self in it. How are we part of the trend and how can we overcome that? Also, Inclusive made a quick, very short study, where is diversity inclusion? So where your potential employers are with being an inclusive employer. So I want you to look at the green, second green. Majority of these companies are halfway, so over 53% are doing something about diversity inclusion, but a lot of them are still either on both sides, either nothing or either too much on, really advanced level of diversity inclusion work, 10% on the advanced mature level. So there is still a problem to mention what is anti-racism and how does that affect in recruitment. And Minister of Justice yesterday launched this amazing campaign called I'm Anti-Racist. So I think that's also nice to kind of get used to it. Get used to that is nothing to be afraid of, that those discussions. So, but when you think of yourself, where are we and how do I network myself? So the Finnish National Agency of Education did a really interesting study on 35 different professional platforms, and you can look at that page. But this is, I just took this slide just to show what are the trends, what are the skills needed by 2035 for business life. And it helps to kind of put your CVs and your life experiences into perspective. And how do you make yourself relevant for your employer? And it's really nice to see they make this for other professions as well. So go out and check and see if you find your professional field. Yeah, and then you think, okay, what do I bring to Finland? How are we different if everyone else is so highly educated here and they have their own staff? Well, I think that it's needed to remind that a lot of us come from different countries, different cultures, and your perspectives and your competencies, unique set of experiences, and also cultural awareness and your market knowledge really, really matters. And I have really struggled with that in Denmark, and that experience kind of really brought me here. And every time I say it is that you need to hear it over and over again. And that what employers need is just you're thinking differently, you're outside of the group think, and you improve decision making and product development. That's what you need to think. I mean, if you are part of the Finnish manufacturing or some other product company or startup. So networking tips. Let's get to it. I think some of you who've been in May have probably heard the same, but repetition is good. So let's look through it. One of the things that we've learned over 10 years, at least since I graduated, is what you cannot afford right now when you're looking for a job, even career change, is that you stay invisible. You cannot afford to stay invisible, especially as an international, because you need to be noticed, you need to drive value, who you are, show your worth, and that's where internet is a level playing field. It allows equal space for everyone to reach out to everyone on this planet, and really start a conversation. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's always giving out his phone number, but how many of us actually SMS him, right? So really being proactive and not being greedy or insecure with your knowledge is something. This is the time of the hour. What I also noticed is that we need to consider job options, that if you have like first job option, you have the second job option, and then your third job option, that you kind of have your own path and you make informed choices, that I may not become a TV anchor in Finnish immediately. so think of what's your other way of getting a job within your field, or something that makes you happy. And it does bring you, how to say, it comes with a trade-off. And I had to do a trade-off just moving here, because I had a career, but I decided to change. So maybe if I stayed in Denmark, my life would go otherwise. But in that sense, I still have another part of the well-being, is to start a family. So that was my priority, which everything comes with a cost trade-off. So I think, again, I'll go back to Humak offering, is that entrepreneur path is really interesting. What I want to give you, though, if you consider entrepreneur path, I want to give you a tip, which I have not learned. I've learned the hard way. So I started my own consulting 3 years ago. And starting an entrepreneur business for Finland is too small, simply too small. Think global, think your language, think your culture, think your different regions, think US. I don't know if you speak English, right? So that's something that I'm now also expanding on myself. So think, okay, how can I be more scalable in my services, so that I don't need to think of, let's say, talent boost, with all the good things I've done with them, but it's just simply not, let's say, sustainable. And maybe also I like to be more in a global space. So for me, that could be Europe, could be Central Asia, could be then US. Okay, so that's my tip. Knowledge sharing. So if we could go now to you, and you can again unmute yourself and say, what helps you boost your digital presence? And we can take 5 minutes on this, Lucia, yeah?
Sure. If you like to write down in the chat, I would be happy.
Write down or say, you can speak up. Let's have some voices out there. Showcase yourself, showcase your ideas. Give back, yes.
Tarek, would you like to share with us? You are an example.
Yeah.
I was about to say, how about Kamilla? How about Kamilla? How does she do it? But yeah, I think I can share something.
Yeah.
I think what helps me boost my digital presence is definitely the people I know. I think my friends are very, very, very helpful, I have to say. And maybe also by having these opportunities, I say yes to a lot of opportunities. I'm almost like a yes man kind of thing. It could have two sides. Sometimes it burns you out. It happens. But because I like to be in a lot of like projects, so then suddenly I realized that, wow, I'm like almost everywhere. That's nice. And of course, then I start realizing that maybe I can focus on the things that really give me passion and say no to other things. So I think this definitely helped me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tarek. Valeria wrote in the chat, I sometimes write articles on LinkedIn, usually collaborating with other institutions, for example, Centria.
Perfect.
Thank you. It's a good, valuable tip.
Yes.
But sometimes people just think about posts or pictures, but I think she just had good tip that is not only post about yourself, but even share something is important, and content is really relevant.
Content with different platforms. So find a platform which you can really add value and they need your voice. So Centria is a platform they want to show the international. You have chambers of commerces, you have different universities, but also municipalities who want to showcase, because every municipality is fighting for you to move there and pay taxes in that municipality. So you want to think which city is interesting to you. Even you start with your own and share an experience and just be honest. I think everyone wants to have rehellinen, honest, trustworthy op-ed or just something that makes Finland a unique space or something that really affects your life. And you want to also be vocal on some things that you're not happy about. Or even local newspaper. I've been vocal here in Vuosaari newspaper before municipal elections. So that's also a way to kind of showcase that, hey, this is how we walk the talk on political participation and civic engagement and local and community work. Yeah.
We have some others that wrote in the chat. Elisabetta says, I interact with people on Facebook or LinkedIn. Okay. Isabella is saying that she doesn't have a good digital presence. We're here to help you, don't worry. Nural says that I used to be an entrepreneur who had a shop specializing in photography, and now I'm using that knowledge to create YouTube videos. Has no help with job search, but helped me to share my passion. Thank you. And Tarek is actually asking, what's your YouTube channel? So please share with us. We are very curious.
Perfect. I like that, Tarek. See, we need to also be curious in each other here. And you don't know what will happen after this webinar. And Liu Tran was the first one to share her LinkedIn, right? So that's really cool. That doesn't happen in Finnish webinars so often because they're like, but we can break it. So always be, out there co-creating your own openness in that sense that you're also part of creating the conversation. All right.
And Matt, you would like to say something? Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yes, sorry, I just got quit. So what I do is that I just use any possible platform that is given to me. Like, for example, I'm employed by University of Turku at the moment, so I have a research profile there. So I just make it complete. I just upload photos and write about myself or any other platforms of previous universities. So it is an opportunity that you have. So I just try to make any possible profile complete. Just so it makes me to be present.
Nice. Thank
Great.
you for sharing.
Thank you. And we have another volunteer. Oh, I like really.
Hi, Kamilla.
Hi.
This is Gaurav from India. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, so just one thing I just need to say that what thing boosts my digital presence is that I really get to, explore a lot of other things, or a lot of business people and professionals, recruiters have available on the social medias. So that is one thing which, insists me to get on the social medias as well. Because I was very, very active on LinkedIn back in India when I was in India doing my job in healthcare itself. So LinkedIn is not so popular for, sales and other things in India, in normal cities. But then I went to France for my MBA, and then I came to know that, yeah, like social presence, especially LinkedIn, is like irresistible. You have to have that. So
That's
after that, after that, I, built my LinkedIn profile and everything I did. I have now more than around 2,000, followers and friends on LinkedIn, and I engage a lot. Recently, I came on Instagram as well, and from there only I came to know about Turku business region and Helsinki's and all those things. They are offering some good opportunities like talent boost. So I think that is something which helped me to engage more online.
That's right. This is
Yeah.
really great insight, and you can connect. I mean, on all platforms, you can figure out your own voice, how you project your passion, your interest that speaks about who you are as a person, but also who you are as a professional. Because I know that most people look at LinkedIn, but you can also make Instagram work for you in that sense.
Actually, I was not an Instagram person, but lately I got to know that I should be there, and I get so much opportunities and knowing about the businesses and the opportunities over there. It's great.
That's right. And think about your Indian community, that just because you're located strategically in Finland, you can do lives and speak to Finnish people or Indian professionals in Finland. And you can make also yourself as a saying, okay, you're adding value towards talent boost agenda, but also towards your community who's interested to move or relocate to Finland.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think also looking at where you're located is really worthwhile while you just relocated, so you don't take it for granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So
Thank you. We have a last volunteer, Kamilla. Can we take her?
Of course.
Thank you. They've been so brave. Marek, would you like to say something?
Yes.
Thank you.
Two things that come to mind that kind of gives me incentive to think a lot more than that, but two I will point out is like taking the courage to be empowered in that what you have to say is important to someone, and not falling for the trap that, oh, what can I add? It has been said before, it has been written before, it has been showcased somewhere. However, I am the individual with an individual story, and I'm sure it will be interesting for someone. And through sharing that, opportunities have been created. So it's a boost for me to do that even more. And the other thing is finding my curiosity or finding my excitement in digital presentation, which I'm not great in. I'm more a person's person, and I thrive in the actual situation and being spontaneous and coming up with ideas and read the moments. However, I think since I'm in Finland, I'm realizing what an importance that this digital presentation has, but I find myself over and over again being critical of it. So it is still a challenge for me. How can I get excited about it, and how do I find my own path in utilizing it for me?
Very valid point. And I think many of us struggle in different points. If, let's say, I've been on vacation in the summer, I can honestly say, what's my voice now? It can be quite interesting if you had a break. So to kind of catch up and really make that, again, what's your personal agency, but really good to say that power of personal story is enough. It doesn't have to be super smart or some kind of article. But also ask the tip for all of you, because the speakers after me are going to be so knowledgeable about this. Ask them the same question: what's enough to do your digital presence, from Pointer Potential, from Pipsa Aro, right? She's going to be there. Lucia.
Pipsa Aro,
yeah. She's like your number one go-to person, and even follow her. She's so flamboyant on LinkedIn that's just like one person that you can really learn a lot from. But also ask from Melis. Melis is from the Melis Are. We worked in Finnish Inclusion Leaders Network. And so from all the speakers, ask, because they represent employers, or even if it's public or non-profit. So in that sense, you will get really topical knowledge, which is context-based, and ask them if they can look at your LinkedIn profile. So yeah, great. If if we're done, we continue.
There's one question from Isabella,
Okay.
and then maybe I can read. I wonder if you can clarify to me what is the benefit from connect with people that you don't know on LinkedIn. The times has been useful for me to have connections when I'm applying for a job and find out connection that works at that company. Hopefully that connection can give me a reference or introduction. Will someone whom doesn't know you really be willing to support you through the LinkedIn somehow?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
she asking basically, is LinkedIn useful when you don't know somebody?
I think so, yeah, because I'm going to go to the next few slides and say, how do you actually build an authentic connection to strangers, especially in remote place where you can't share a smile, you can't share a joke, being present. There is possible, and you're in the best country that will. In Finland, there is that still obligation to reply an email. In America, if they didn't promise you, wait for that reply. In Finland, you will get reply, and people are still dead honest and brutally honest if it comes to say, no, I don't have chance to help you, but they will tell you yes or no, and you know you have them. So let me, Isabella, come to your answer with a question with what I have to tell you right after this, okay?
Thank you.
So let's continue. Thank you so much for sharing. I also learned a lot as well from your inputs that LinkedIn is, we need to be there. So I'm giving you a few examples with very young professionals who are very adamant on LinkedIn. You can do screenshots, or I'll send you the PowerPoint after. You can just follow them. They are from, these two are from Honken, and the reason I took them is because I went to student site and I said, give me the best networkers on LinkedIn and I want to know what they do right. And they gave me these names. You can also follow them and learn how they project themselves. And being young, right? You have stuff on CV. Maybe some of you are definitely older than graduates. So these two, and then Lukumanu, I think you know him. And Raisa, she's very visible as well. And I think they come out both with their passion and expertise and also willingness to give. And I think that's what really matters. So think of how you can also give and not just demonstrate knowledge, but to share knowledge, you see. So these two, so we have 4 profiles here, and this links here is what I have also connected to think where you are building your communities, where you are your closest place to get the context and relevance. Some are here, you will see it's a collection of everything. Even a hashtag becomes your source of information to find your relevance, like Talent Boost. And invite yourself to all Talent Boost events, ask for them to cover your story, offer them your story, op-ed, and then anything we all know about what Lucia is also presenting, getting mentors. There is 2 ways to get to consider mentoring and sponsorship. I don't know if you heard about sponsorship. What's the difference between a mentor and a sponsor? So a mentor is the person who talks with you, and a sponsor is a person who talks about you. So someone who endorses you, right? So that's why what I'm telling you with networking, don't be transactional, be long-term community builder, is that people learn who you are as a person and a professional, and they will recommend you to their network. And it's a bit of American style. I heard that in Finland, people do recommend each other, but they don't want to say it, I'm a sponsor for someone. But that's what Sulaima Gurani became for me. She became my sponsor. She didn't necessarily mentor me because she lived in Denmark. Now she lives in the US. And she spoke about me to Pekka Himanen. And then she spoke about me to European young leaders. And so it really does matter who you network with in an authentic way, and who find out who you actually are and what you're actually about. So if you're a student, your first community is a dorm, your teachers. I mean, for any one of you, embassies are your great source, because embassies also want to showcase who lives from that country in Finland. And they also have great events, which you can network with some high, pretty big wigs and who not, and neighborhoods. My neighbor, he was the one to get me to Business College Helsinki. I just knocked on the door, started talking, and Osmo is like, why are you talking to a neighbor? I'm like, yeah, why not? So again, be creative, thinking that there's no contact was a bad contact. And he was the one opening the door for me to pitch for a Global Dignity event. And together we did an event for 1,600 people in Mesukeskos. I could never dream about getting that opportunity. So yeah, screenshot it, study it. I took number 9, which is relevant for you, Southwest Finland Maritime Cluster. That's because I have maritime background. You have some of the coolest international maritime shipping companies, companies who supply shipping companies, but also cruise ships, and don't like eradicate yourself from there. You may find an opportunity in that field as well, because it's international. So podcasts, think if you can actually start a podcast or be on one. There are a lot of them in English. And then number 13, 14, 15, this is more of following the webinars and newsletters and commenting on that, figuring out who is who in Finland, who can help you support your idea or push you forward wherever you are. I follow Nordic Business Forum since that year when I met Sulaima Gurani. And then what also helped me when I had, of course, I'm not fluent in Finnish or Swedish. I read Swedish because I speak Danish, but what really helped me with the identity question is to get connections in Europe, which kind of gave me credibility in Finland. So if you're from Europe, you are not from Europe, you think of other European-based pan-European associations which follow your interest, your profession, or your expertise. And in that sense, when you join them, when you then put it on your CV, people look at you differently. And I'll give you an example with a Finnish academic. His name is Jukka-Pekka Heikkilä. He's the community scholar. He's a Newton scholar from London. And I interviewed him last year on community building. How do we actually belong in Finnish society? And he said to me, listen, he said, I'm Finnish, he said, and my ideas, they were not approved by Academy of Finland. My offer, he said, was not good enough for them. And he had to go outside of Finland to get funding. And after that, of course, Finland starts clapping because the guy is freaking Newton scholar. And he went in the next project, he went to Burning Man in Nevada to do some crazy academic project there. And so just to tell you examples, sometimes that your craziest ideas may not follow immediately, but when you go out of the Finnish circle, you think Nordic, then European, maybe your region culture or transnational. And that kind of networks is really good to be also associated with. So what I did this summer, with my work Diversity Inclusion, I joined European Women on Boards Association in Brussels. It allows me to also be an ambassador for getting more women on boards. Why? Because there's more women on boards. We have better diversity trickling down horizontally, vertically, and also better CSR strategies. And it also gives me a space where I can speak English and I don't need to think, I'm one of a kind, or that we're all multinational in Brussels based, yeah? So again, we can always figure out and be strategic, not burning out, as Tarek said. Yes, you can say yes to things, but think what supports you and how you can authentically, and with your profession, you can also add value to those associations, because they really do help to promote yourself and also get this reciprocity. So the AIR model for Isabella and you, how we're having a webinar right now. Many of you know me, but many of you don't. How then you listen and then someone, you hear panel debate, what you can reach out to on LinkedIn in a manner which is very respectfully. You can be respectfully curious and ask for advice. And that's a perfect reason to say, listen, I heard your speech or take, or I read your article on XYZ. And I'm interested to hear what's your advice if I want to take this into use in your particular context. Then you want somebody's insight. Again, find some connection that shows the other person that you have done your homework. So you don't just write and say, well, I know you're on a picture of a book, but you actually know something about a professional person, and you ask, so use that insight for something and quote. So when you write a LinkedIn post, you can share a content, or you can quote someone and say, listen, I really benefited from this and I hope I'm sharing this to my network. So in that sense, again, you're giving value, by recognizing someone else. And that also connects you that someone wants to also be, recognized for their, not excellence, but at least some kind of, expertise. Recommendations, when you ask for that, say, okay, Lucia, I'll write her, Lucia, I'm coming to Turku. What's your recommendation for hotels? Yeah. Simple as that. I want your opinion and I trust you and I recognize you that you're local there. So these kind of things like give one, get one. But recommendations also who you are as a, as a volunteer, as a person, as a student assistant, project manager. LinkedIn, go on your LinkedIn profile and think, who would you like to give recommendation to? I'm sure there are so many people you haven't, you probably like them, you probably miss them. And those who you used to work with, just make somebody's day by writing a recommendation. It's always nice to read something nice about yourself. So yeah, and then referrals. Those are very picky because you may not be here so many years, you may be still new, but still you are any volunteer project, just make sure that you have a beginning and an end. Don't just start and then to get out of there. Beginning and end, that gives you an opportunity to get a referral. And then also when you in a project, you also figure out how you want to speak about it, that it's honest, that it's not like decorating it, yeah? So referrals, very cool to give one and get one. So don't just keep asking, but be very reciprocal. So Isabella, I hope that gives you this, and to all of you, this model, very nice way to connect. Every webinar is an opportunity to be visible, to be interesting, and to also showcase that you are ambitious. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. And that you're not, and you're proactive. I think that's what makes us who we are as internationals, immigrants. We always hungry to get things done, and we're much more efficient here in Finland because things work so fast on the municipality and banking side, so we can get ahead. So based on this model, which I just told you, does this remind you or give connection to what you do already, or could you use it more? Just to reflect on this for a short time. You can do like this. If this resonates with you, it's like a little nice sign. Does this look familiar? Yep. Good. Very good. I like that. Hands are open. When you open hands, I can see that. Yeah. Next time we're going to do handy on them. Yes. Good. So that's a really, really good way to connect. And then languages, right? So how do you enter the network and build your own comfortable way to reach out to people and be? I really think that if you're here, even for a short time, I think you should give it a try and just give an effort to learn one of the local languages. Yeah. And maybe you can, I can't see all of you, but have you considered learning it? Do you speak it? Say something in comments, because you need to reflect on it. Learning languages are good for you. They move your neurons, and don't think about being difficult. You're not learning Japanese or Russian. Finnish is more logical. So consider that, and really that even learning it on A1 or A2 level gives you that credibility that you want to give it an effort. And Finns are so incredibly appreciative of that, incredibly appreciative. There's a hand out here. Go ahead. Maybe you should, yes.
Francisca, would you like to talk? You're muted.
Then we try again now. Hi,
Yes.
Sorry for interruption. I'm really trying to get the point on the language, because on my background, I'm an engineer. I'm able to speak on the coffee table Finnish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But until now, it has never been enough to actually get in, because it has been all the time, no, we need somebody who's fully proficient and who also does the project work in Finnish.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm thinking, like, how can this actually happen, and how can be the attention be even better to say, hey, I'm learning the language and please accept that I'm not learning all the engineering terms again in Finnish.
Mhm. That's
Do
right.
you have any recommendation, or do you have an idea how to deal with that?
Right. I think what you're referring to is a structural issue, because if project demands to be written in Finnish, of course, you need to learn the technical one. I know a student from Hanken. She was already a fully fledged consultant from KPMG and Deloitte, and she had to do it. She had to do a degree in Hanken and learn the accounting words in Finnish to be able to work with the Finnish legislation. So ask them what is by law required for that project. Engineering, I'm thinking safety, legal issues, concerns. And others is that if someone from the team could help you either proofread it, or then, let's say, look at the elements that you don't need to look at that side of the language, but you can look on the other deliverables. And many companies now offering, at least those who want to retain their talent, offering Finnish classes, and then see how you can trade skills. I didn't need to write Finnish report in Hanken, because for sure that cross-sectoral project we had with cities and universities in Finland, the whole application was in Finnish. So it's a structural thing. And we need to question that. Why should that report be in Finnish? All of that. So think how much you can get away with that, with what you know, and maybe reshuffle your job description that doesn't need to connect to Finnish language, but to other competencies.
Yeah, thanks.
Negotiate. Yeah, I negotiated with Hanken colleagues, so someone had to do the translation of reporting. Yeah. So yes, we are going further. I want to what can I say here? Other things to, like, secretive ways. It's not really secretive, but what I want to also say is that as internationals, we tend to be in our international bubble. So I say, do not stay there, because it's not always that those people are going to get you into the jobs. You will be able to help each other, but my first job in Denmark, I got through my Danish classmate. And that was really, really helpful, that you need to build relationships to locals. And so join right here, Hanken communities, but sports clubs and events I already said, and then utilize social media and storytelling, which I already spoke to you about. Showing up is also, Richard Branson said 80% of our success is really showing up. Again, to quote Tarek, don't have a yes hat on everything, because you can be burned out. But to avoid that, just think of where you need to show up. And yes, sometimes those networking events will not add value, but you don't know where the good contact is. So, and if you have some resources, you have some time, be very strategic on where you can volunteer your time. Showcase yourself as a mentor. There are always young people who want to be mentored, and you as an international can bring the whole world to them. And hackathons, I have really benefited from different hackathons here. I don't know how it's done now. Probably it's all online, but soon they will be back for sure. Junction and Arctic Startup they did, really lots of different hackathon opportunities. Also think about hackathons in Estonia. You'll be surprised how interesting the connection also with Estonia is if you're into the tech and startup world. And career fairs. So career fairs works as webinars. Use the AIR model and start the conversation. Be a conversation starter. Don't hold back. It's your future. It's now or never. And you can pitch in a toilet. You can pitch in a football field. You can pitch in any messu where you're located, even in an entrance to the university or city of Turku. Okay, so that's a kind of to really cement it in your brain that you are the conversation starter in Finland. So again, I also want to focus on your mental health, and that we also need to develop your own sense of humility, compassion, and self-compassion while you're looking for a job, while you're building your, knocking on doors, and it's a stressful job. I've done it twice, and that humility is also being that, okay, in Finland, you can't say like, I'm the best person for the job, but you say you're the optimal person for the job, and then still having the confidence saying that, yes, I want to apply for X number of times. So those two qualities, confidence, humility, and all within of your own self-compassion. And that's why I work so much with Global Dignity, because dignity, having that strength is like having your spine. It will always be straight. It can be bended, but never broken. And that dignity awareness also extends to recognizing other people. And so I want to think how you include people in your environment so that someone else includes you elsewhere. Okay, and that I got from my friend in South Africa who works with also young kids from a very socioeconomical background. So think about inclusivity yourself first. Being vulnerable is very bad, difficult for me as well, but showing vulnerability in job search, being new to the country, is all about asking for help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay not to know everything. Knock on doors, knock on LinkedIn, and resend the emails. Resend emails. Don't give up on the first email try. And never take things personally, because you don't know if another person has other issues going on. We are in COVID after all. And virtual coffees are great. Don't start half an hour, think 15 minutes. Yeah. When I pitched to Barack Obama, when he was here for Nordic Business Forum, we pitched him to meet inclusion leaders. So I've been trained to say, how do you write an email to president's office and say, Barack Obama, you're coming to Helsinki. We want you to come to our multicultural neighborhood and meet the inclusion leaders. So one of the former diplomats, she told me, she said, just ask 15 minutes of his time. That's it. So ask 15 minutes of that person's time, also in your space in Turku or around, and just really be interesting, be likable, and it's really not nice to be always that negative person thinking, oh, I'm an immigrant. It doesn't help us to think as a victim. Yeah, I think some of us have been there, and it's nice for the moment, but it's not sustainable for us. So be proactive. So, and I want to remind you again, your everyday SISU is with you because you deal with rejection, we deal with isolation, we do have to be speaking always, and sometimes people around us don't help us, including my husband. He's super quiet. And language barriers, we're managing as well. Yes, sometimes there is case of discrimination. We hear it, and it's good people write it and actually do something about it, and they recognize it on a government level. And yes, we have long winters, so we need a lot of that SISU, and pat yourself on the shoulder. It's absolutely needed. So yeah, what have I told you today? So these are the students I've been working on matching, and guy on the right side, he got a job in F-Secure, and I'm just so happy when every time they get a job, they write me on LinkedIn and say, Kamilla, I got a job. I'm like, yay, you know, it's like I do a wiggle dance. So it's really nice, this kind of connecting impactful jobs. And then a friend of mine, actually, she said, I quit a job because of you. I'm like, whoa, okay, that's interesting. So that happened too, the other side. I've told you today, everyone, that it's, we're just, what we're actually doing is localizing ourselves through relationships, through knocking doors. We don't talk to forests, we love them, but really embracing your identities in various communities will help you to make relationships to Finns, to international Finns, to multicultural Finns, anyone who lives in Finland. And that I gave you that specific toolkit with AIR model, and those communities that you can research and see where you can join, see where you can write your next thing and become part of it somehow, and find a website page where there's a building bridges page, where lots of websites where you don't need to speak Finnish, of those Finnish employers. Gave you different creativities from my stories and where you can be creative to connect and ask for help. and get a mentor, but also find sponsors. Think who could be your sponsor. It could be your teacher again, right? Your professor, or your even think someone from the embassy or someone from your home country. So still everyone is on LinkedIn, we're global. And prioritizing sports, please do sports. It improves your cognitive capacity, but also improves your way to connect to some really cool people. And then you really are grounded in a Finnish swamp. I remember running in that smelly swamp in the summer, and then insisting on your excellence. Promise me you're not gonna devaluate your skills, your who you bring, and that you will invest in your social capital, because that's really authentic. Cook them curries, cook them your frikandelle with peanut sauce. You can cook them whatever things that you want, but break the mold and start making networks, communities on your authentic level. Don't follow this, because it's not normal to do it. Don't follow your spouse's advice. If I did everything my husband did, my God, I'll be on depression level #1. So yeah, we're all here for each other with action or inaction. And I really hope that you make Turku your home, you figure out new ways to do it, and you will share it with me as well. So I hope this is good. This was interesting for you. And I want to finish with fantastic visionary from Canada, Bruce Mao. He connects empathy and dignity as the key to creating our absolutely positive future. And I think regardless how much we miss each other in trips, we need to believe in our positive future is possible. So yeah, reach out to me. And if you like what I said, please leave me a review on Facebook so I can speak to more internationals and we can thrive together.
I just need to have your outlook on one of the issues.
I'm sorry?
I just need your advice on one of the career issues I am facing right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, actually, I'm into healthcare sales and business development since long. And I did my MBA in marketing from France, and then because of the COVID and all other lockdown, I came back to India. But now I'm very eager to move to Finland, because I came to know about the talent boost program and all other opportunities over there. So do you think there are opportunities in Finland for English speakers in sales and marketing developments and all, business development and all?
Within healthcare?
They prefer Finnish language still in sales and marketing also?
No, for sure. I wouldn't say that. So no, because if you're selling abroad, a finished product abroad, no, because Finland is an export country. 95% of products made in Finland are exported abroad. So if you're not selling finished product to Finnish customers, I don't think language is a barrier at all. The only barrier is to showcase that you can sell from who you are, from where you stand, and get the recruiters or project managers or business unit leaders to talk to you and say, well, what would make you the candidate? So no, for sales, no. That's why I went to sales, because I didn't need to speak perfect Danish.
Yeah, sure. So there are any, actually, I explored a lot of portals for for the English jobs in sales, but actually I was not able to find much of the jobs which require only English to land in Finland. Yeah,
so check out the buildingbridges.fi. There is a list of pages, Finnish employers who do not require Finnish, but think of which products you actually want to sell, or contact Indian embassy and get the list of companies who are active in India from Finland. So then you can see from that sense, if you want to, let's say, connect to your market, right? Or then you can still connect to your market and then have the original responsibility for business development. That's also possible. I did that before I moved to Finland. I got a list of Danish companies in Finland, but I didn't succeed because I didn't get so many replies. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kamilla, for your response.
Actually, Kamilla, there was a question from before, if you don't mind, I would like to ask you now. And Jana was wondering if the sponsor works in Finland, because she's never heard about it.
Yes, so again, it's sponsor, stop share, I will stop sharing. I see you all now. Well, some of you. The sponsor thing, it works once you feel comfortable. I think you need to live and know the person who feels comfortable to speak about you. Okay, it's not going to happen over 6 months if you just met like once or twice, right? Because when we do referrals, it's all about your integrity. But the person, let's say, who knows me for 5 years, 6 years, she's been helpful, being Finnish but living in Finland and in Denmark. She has been my sponsor as well, like opening doors and connecting randomly. Okay, it does work because that's the way Finns get landed jobs, but because they refer people they know for many years, you know. I'll give you one quick tip that I heard, and maybe Laura, or who is from Finland, who can tell me. So the current government members are from Green Party, a lot of them are, but I mean, it's a coalition. But I heard that this Scouts organization, the 65,000 people members, is that if you're part of that, you have a nice community where you've been Scouts since you were young. And that's also a way to get your talent pipeline, right? So that's why I mean, like society, like volunteer associations, sports associations, they do matter because people remember you from that, right? And talkot culture, the community building in Finland, where you clean things together in a garden, or you're in a sports bar, you know, having beers and pizza after. You just need to be in those places. I think that's really how I learned also from Denmark, that you do things together in commune, and that's how you see people now go into politics just because of allegiance to Scouts. I mean, of course, they're also good. So that's some insight for you.
Thank you. But if you have other questions, you are really welcome to unmute yourself and
Yes,
ask.
please. Now I want to hear you. What resonated? What do you think you didn't get? Please, let's chat.
Can I say something?
Yes, Tarek.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Thank you so much, Kamilla. I was like really looking forward to be mind blown, and I was. You really shared a lot of things from your heart. And because I know you're a very open person, I'm gonna ask you another question. It's a bit personal, but I think it can help me personally a lot. How do you deal with a consecutive, let's say, stream of rejections personally?
Yeah. So how do you deal with rejection? Well, you have these many heroes who are like Oprah Winfrey and all those who did so many offers, or like they didn't get the job at the time, so that you need to get a lot of no's, and only 10% from my sales background, right? Only 10% of the deals actually materialize. If you send 100 offers, you get only 10 times yes, even if you need to be always in that space of having a healthy outlook on your job, first of all, right? The job, that what you're doing is really giving you that fulfillment, that you don't want to be affected by the no's, right? Now, people are changing careers, and haven't been always so excited to be on webinars because I can't see you all in person. So, and then in that sense, you may want to think, okay, if I don't get a webinar gig, would I get and then a stage gig? When is that going to happen? And do I want to wait, right? So you have always choice, but I think rejection comes with a healthy self-confidence, having that self-compassion, and that it's a hard market out there, depends where you are, and need to be surrounded with people who are kick-ass like yourself and say, hey, let's have a laugh, you know, have a support network who encourages you and pushes you and say, okay, yaksa, and it's not only about succeeding and showcasing Instagram perfect life, and also being vulnerable. I've learned to be more vulnerable over the years, and that's really what I really appreciate from living in Finland. You don't need to decorate, you know, you don't need to decorate, but you can be really honest, and you can also think of discussions on mental health issues, depressions, burnouts. I think that's also part of life. But yeah, your outlook on your job, your self-confidence, and your support networks.
Thank you.
Actually, Valeria pointed before, and now Laura said it again, that volunteer is is an important part in networking, especially here in Finland. What is your opinion about it?
Thank you, Laura. I saw you nodding when I was speaking, and I think I've been bombarded with some negative comments on volunteering in Finland, and I think I should speak it out clearly to you. There is volunteering, which is your work done with passion but unpaid, and then there is also unpaid internships, and there's sometimes companies use volunteering as unpaid labor. So I want to separate deeply the two and remind you to be vigilant when you apply for jobs, and if it's a paid position, I mean, it's a private company and they give you an unpaid volunteer position, that's wrong. That's wrong. You need to then get an internship and then think about different ways to also demand, there's a lot of people now who say no to unpaid internships, and that requires companies to shift their way, how they recruit talent. The volunteering is strategic now, it's changing as well, its phase. Like I said to you, have a beginning and the end. It's more project-based. You're not expected to be there for years. That's how I have also done with Global Dignity. By the way, if someone wants to volunteer for Global Dignity and do a workshop on dignity principles, please reach out to me. It's very easy to go out and you can experience giving a lecture in a school in English about dignity and sharing your story and engaging with lots of cool kids who want to hear you. Then what I also would recommend you, there are different international non-profits here in Finland where you can come on board. So you can actually be on board, you can be very, even show strategic awareness and even ask those NGOs that you like. You can be a sports coach and you will meet a lot of cool parents. And those parents work somewhere, right? And you can also, think about if you want to promote your culture, then the embassy is your way. Embassies are never paying, but they really want ambassadors, cultural ambassadors. And so in that sense, it gives you also a way to bring your different type of identity. And then you can also help cities to run, let's say, Instagram takeovers. Yes, it's volunteering, but still it gives you visibility. So very different ways how you can create content for yourself and make this win-win, quid pro quo kind of thing. So I did a TED talk about volunteering, you can see it on YouTube. So there are some few more options.
Thank you, Kamilla. Can I add something about volunteering, which is my personal experience with the IWWOF?
Yeah.
It's not mainstream, but I want to say that a lot of time people decide to volunteer and then they don't keep up the promise to do so. And it's really annoying for those organizations, especially if you don't have big resources. Exactly. So, and most of the time you just want to add on LinkedIn the name of the association. But Finland is a small country, associations are even smaller. So if you decide to volunteer, you have to commit. It's true, it's unpaid, but it's something that you do and you want to commit because you believe in the cause you're volunteering. Yeah. So, and people then will refer because the volunteers, as you said, will work somewhere. And it's a way to start your networking in a larger community, share values, but please, when you do, commit to it as if it was a job. I mean, it's not paid, but you have to be serious about it. Exactly. Not just come in the association, be 2 weeks, add it on LinkedIn and then disappear, because voice is spread very easily in Finland. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, people will talk and they'll know if you are reliable or not. So I have been working with also very young volunteers because of that connection to Business College Helsinki. And knowing, there are different ways of engaging with people. We wanted those young people to have a transformative experience, but that comes with a lot of work to get them committed, and they get upset so easily, blah, blah, blah. But then still that those people who stick around, they will get far. And that's way for you to be strategic and say, okay, how many hours you can give, and negotiate with volunteer associations what you're willing to give. Is it 5 hours a month or 5 hours a week? So there is all these nonprofits are flexible. You just need to be straightforward, and that's how things work. And then you get your referral.
Thank you, Kamilla. But anybody else, other thoughts, other questions? How are you networking? Are you networking champion? Are you struggling? Would like to know more.
Yeah, maybe Laura and Ariane could share, let's say, how are you networking? I know you're from a different table, different side of the table, but it would be nice to hear your perspective.
Thanks, first of all, Kamilla, for this excellent, encouraging and inspiring speech once again. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of a cold, so my voice might be a bit down.
Thank you, Laura.
I personally lived abroad for about 10 years, so I have also been a foreigner, let's say, in many countries. So therefore, personally, including international talents in the Finnish work life is close to my heart, and I'm passionate about it. And hopefully participating in building these culturally diverse work communities where the diversity is seen as an asset, like real asset. Anyway, so when I came back to Finland, I also experienced that I had lost a little bit my networks because I was out for long. Mm-hmm. So one thing I did was studying. Lifelong learning is my passion as well. So I participated in interesting courses and studies, mm-hmm. and that got again a new network. So that's one thing I would advise if you're interested in something. Finland is really a country for open university and open also in all sorts of online courses and flexible possibilities to study. So that's one thing I did, and which helped me to get back in the networks in a way. And also I mentioned in the chat volunteering, but you are right, you have to be careful not to be exploited either. Yeah. So just follow your own passions and interests and meet people that share your values, and all that helps as well. What else? Then I'm active in social media, even though I'm not in these latest TikToks and whatever, but I think it's inspiring to see different stories. Meet people as much as you can, even online. Thanks.
Right. Thank you for sharing, Laura.
Thank you, Laura. And she's indeed very active in supporting international community. So
yeah.
Thank you.
See, now you want to network with Laura. Haha.
I've been on networking with Laura for so long. Well, she was one of the first person.
I'm not talking about everyone else. Talk to Laura.
Please reach out to Laura.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Olga. As Olga's writing here. Perfect. Super. Ariane, we're listening. Sorry, you had the mic on and.
It's okay. Yeah, I would like to mention here a couple of things just to keep in mind while talking about connecting and getting networked in Finland, especially after being a new mover into the country. Well, following my personal experience when I moved here something like 15 years ago in Finland, it was quite different than now. The social media was at the very beginning of it, and the only path you had to undertake in order to get networked was through people. So get to know, use hobbies as a bridge of being in contact with different people, and do not hesitate to express your capabilities in your field. This was done. But now in 2021, soon 22, many things have changed. And I would say that very much depends on your own schedule, on how do you spend your time, on what do you really want to do. And last but not least, do not underestimate the learning of the local language and culture, especially culture. And please keep in mind, Finland is a small country. There are a few things we have to say clearly. And as a small country, Finland is also a conservative country, which is not always a negative thing, which means that it will offer you the right opportunities and possibilities when the time comes. Show some patience. What else? Yeah, language. 3 very important things. There are language first, language second, language third. Without the language, you can't do anything here.
Yeah.
If you would like to build your life in Finland for long term.
It's true.
And being alone. So yes, but also from the services point of view. So do not hesitate to go and ask for help if you need any. Also in the context of getting networked with other, or with your own community as a start, or with your own community field, professional field, I mean, as a start. Please ask for help. You will find help in Finland. Everybody will be ready to help you from the authority level, from the authority point of view, I mean. So, and well, it is true that from the labor market point of view, Finland has a strict regulations, I mean, a legal structure, but at the end of the day, many things are changing, and I still come back to my old dark years when I first moved here. So there is a positive light in the very end of the tunnel. So do not stress yourself with a lot of negative thoughts in that perspective. What else? Yeah, but show some, how to say, own initiative, own motivation on being a part of this country, learning the language, absolutely learning the language and the culture. And after that, I'm quite sure that not only the networking possibilities or skills will improve, but also the concrete opportunities toward the job market will open. But, yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Arjan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arjan. I think in Finland, things are really available because the welfare society offers you a lot of support. So you don't form friendships as we would form in, let's say, in my culture, relational cultures. You know, friends in, let's say, in Uzbekistan are like you give each other favors because you can't rely on the state. And that really removes that connection after work, and sometimes that separation from professional time and then free time, it's really cultural shock for many. But I think that also requires, because you get so much help from the state, it requires you to be motivated. Without motivation, you can't get further ahead in life. And nobody's going to ask you like, hey, do you need help? No, because they think you will ask when you need help. So in that sense, it's very true what you're saying, that your own initiative it makes Finland a really good country for self-starters. and someone also said for introverts as well, you can be a self-starter with an introvert background. So yeah. And any other questions? I actually wanted to add as well that when we think of that dogma of learning the language, I want to mention this name of this language teacher, Irina Pravit. She has this philosophy that you can actually learn Finnish culture and live your life through learning a language. It doesn't have to be painful cramming of grammar, you can actually turn it into a really nice experience. I went through the integration course. I had a great teacher half of the year, maybe then different teacher second half of the year, and it was in person. But I think you can also consider other ways to engage and make language learning a real cool chapter of your life. I think that's what it is. Also, reconsider that.
Thank you, Kamilla. It's good that it's 6 o'clock, so now we can all go back to Suomen Mestari and study some Finnish. I feel the pressure now.
Yes, or mestari, no, what is it called? Practice makes perfect. Mestari teke, no, I forgot that word. There's another book about Finnish grammar.
Let's take them all.
Yes.
But I will stop now the recording.